What to do, folks? I've got a collaboration review here with JackalGoldKick, and we're going to talk about the MC Juice project, Tip of the Iceberg. So if you don't know about MC Juice, he's basically a freestyle rapper, pretty good at improv and that type of stuff. A few of the cats he's beaten in rap battles is Rhymefest, a cat named Dose One, and then of course Eminem, which that battle was pretty popular, and that's actually the rap battle that got Eminem his exposure and started off like his mainstream appeal with like the Slim Shady LP and stuff. But MC Juice continued being a battle rapper and started dropping albums at least as far back as 2001. But this is one of the projects that kind of happened. So to kind of get a fixture on this type of style, for one thing, I'm not really sure if there is a single. I'm not really sure if there is a single for. I'm not really sure if there's a single for Tip of the Iceberg, but there are a lot of vibes I caught from it. I mean, one skill set that you can see from MC Juice right off the bat is his consistent lyricism. Now, as seen, he defeated Eminem, and this is still 2003, recent around the time when he had beaten Eminem in a rap battle. So that kind of concept, his lyricism is very eviscerating. Now, Eminem got better with his early albums and eventually kind of started to lag down in terms of lyricism by like Encore and Curtain Call and stuff, but MC Juice retained. The way I would look at his lyricism is if Eminem were to keep having the same lyrical style that he had on Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP, that's the basic context of what I've got from MC Juice on Tip of the Iceberg. And the situation about it is, on top of that, I kind of feel like there's signs of influence from DJ Premier and Wu-Tang Clan, and maybe a little bit of Nas thrown in. Those are some of the folks that he kind of has a similar style. Despite the fact that this guy is from Chicago, he feels a lot more like he's from like New York, and there are beats and songs here that remind me that you'd be near a skyscraper in New York and those type vibes. It just has a different, having like a glizzy, something like that, those type of vibes. And it does, I mean, I'll tell you, there weren't very many California vibes and West Coast vibes I got from this project. And it's not to say East Coast, West Coast, blah, 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 the beef and stuff, but it does, I mean, typically more lyrical folks are kind of from the East Coast, but he is from Chicago, and it doesn't really feel like a Midwest project. It definitely feels like more of a Wu-Tang album in that sense. And but there's good things about this project. I'm glad for it, but like another thing I would have to say is it reminded me of like the Slim Shady LP just from like a consistent lyrical angle, because the thing about this project that bugged me was the fact that it did not have like any projected attempt to hit radio, and that it there's a song on here called Real Hip Hop, and I think that that's the intent. When you'll hear folks say that rap sucks nowadays, and in some cases I do feel like that a lot, but this is definitely a hardcore rap album, and there's no radio single, there's not many guests, and there's no real public relations ratio in terms of like songs like My Name Is, that was Eminem's breakout single, his song that got him famous, or songs like Stan, songs like popular kind of elemental songs like Way I Am, and especially hit singles like The Real Slim Shady. If it would have had that, I probably would have said that MC Juice probably could have like an East Coast Slim Shady LP on his hands. I definitely would have said that concept could have definitely happened. But unfortunately, this project barrels up its fists more with lyricism more so than quality control in terms of like radio promotion. So that's what to expect. If you want lyrics that will have you wound up and rooting and that sort of stuff and having a good time, yes, MC Juice is a substantial lyricist. He's up there with Nas and Eminem, but there's nothing much in terms of like saying something that is probably going to be found by vast amounts of people. It's more something that you have to look for. So this, you should know that going in. And that's kind of the concept there. As I look at this project, yes, I was able to find like uh, hits, but the understanding of it is it's more of a niche type thing. So that's kind of, but I do appreciate it. So to talk about a few of the songs that were kick ass and show you the meat of this project in terms of like the venom that this project has. Like I feel like MC Juice has a good job of doing like what Rick Ross does with like some soulful spark a cigar or a blunt at 6 o'clock in the morning type vibes. Songs like It's Lovely, uh, Feel My City, and Inside of Me all have like those real kind of breakfast and just kind of wake and bake kind of vibes, and I definitely appreciated that. Rolling on LSD was another song I enjoyed. I mean, that's like the really only true possibility of recreational type things in terms of like recreational drugs on here, or just, getting buzzed, that type stuff. But that one really feels like a more rampant trip. I mean, that film sounds like you're really having a bad trip more so than a good trip. Just the way the production is on there, it kind of feels like, hey, this could get out of control if you're not careful. I kind of like that one. I mean, it's one of the songs I recommend, but just know that is it real. That's a real trippy production. And then there's also some vibes that I get. I really got some Wu-Tang vibes in terms of, there were some songs I really got some Wu-Tang vibes in terms of like this, the lyricism and how basic it was. He did it completely by himself. Songs like What and I think It's All One. Those are two examples of some things where I kind of felt like where I did want to sit down. I mean, he does that a few more times. He does that on like City of Shaw and maybe like one other time, but I definitely felt like when he just goes in bar for bar and shows off his lyricism, he is good at it, but unfortunately if the production isn't there with him, it's not quite as interesting. But he does do it a couple of times. And yeah, like it's like I said, yeah, What and It's All One or two examples of that. And if you are absolutely looking for a third example, even though I don't recommend the song, I would say City of Shaw. And there is another song on here. This is the most popular song according to Spotify, and it's called Real Hip Hop. And this song, the production just reminded me of New York. It kind of reminded me of like just large buildings, seeing like the hot dog stands and hearing the honking taxis and the traffic and that type stuff, seeing the seagulls, that type stuff. Just getting a real kind of sense of like it was just a real kind of somber and kind of mellow kind of piano production on there where he's just kind of reflecting, but somehow I still felt like it's a decent smoke song and just kind of almost, I mean, if it would have had better presentation, I would have said it could have been a pretty decent makeshift song, but it really was just kind of laid back, but it felt really kind of as close to makeshift as this project was going to get. And but it's good. I mean, like I said, it reminds me of New York, even though he's from Chicago, so that was a good vibe about that. So yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you the 7 songs out of 14 I recommend to you. So here they are. So It's Lovely, It's All One, Feel My City, What, Rolling on LSD, Inside of Me, and Real Hip Hop. And those all, like I explained the ones that I felt good vibes about, but just to complain about a few of these, like as much as I like his lyricism, which he is, like I said, up there, Eminem, Nas, and like Ghostface Killah, some of those type people. But the situation about it is he really needs to learn how to adorn better. And the concept of adorning means having like something down but not knowing how to decorate. And I feel like the problem is he has the lyricism, but in terms of like interesting subject matter and topics that are compelling, I feel like it's kind of slighted. And that's kind of the concept. Like Rolling on LSD was decent, but there should have been more songs about just having a good time. Like some of these, like Lena's song and Same Hood, Different Day, The Only Place for Me, Real Hip Hop, even Run for Your Life. I mean, these just don't come off as like topics that are like click, just draw attention. You would think like, and there's no song for like the ladies really. You could have like a decent club song, decent ladies song, decent car song, decent posse song. Really, there's no, I mean, except on the songs that didn't make it, which I'm going to talk about, there's really no song that has him with like some companions that are at least almost as good as him. He feels the need to do it by himself, but I kind of felt like I would have liked to have seen him with other lyricists. At least Eminem on the Slim Shady LP did a collaboration with Royce the 5'9", but there's just not that kind of stuff, minus the extra songs. And he really could use the help. I mean, he's able to carry the weight, but it just gets kind of tedious in some senses, just because you could use a break from just the sheer intensity that he has. And like I said, the adorning thing, and it's just kind of like the topics. I mean, Tupac doesn't have this problem. Like Lil Wayne, in some cases, doesn't have this problem. Ludacris doesn't definitely have this problem. And like even Exhibit on the right day, depending upon what he does. Eminem in most cases when he was in his druggier days, but it's just something that and when it says real hip hop, that's what you're getting. And real hip hop means lyrics first. So that's fine as long as there's something that goes along with it to make the situation interesting. Because if all you're doing is just at some rap cipher, there's more things to it. I mean, do we know if this guy likes video games, what television, and just sports and general things like that, food and all these different things that could go on to happen, liquor and that type stuff. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the concept that if you like it, make a song about it as opposed to just showing off the lyricism. But as it were, I mean, it's a solid project, and I appreciate the fact of seeing what he can do, especially with the fact that he defeated Eminem in a rap battle. But, you can kind of tell that the situation is that he is like, I mean, his um, extreme preference for lyricism held him back from being able to be like a mainstream star, and that's just what you have to. I mean, it goes to extreme lyricism. I mean, he knows how to somewhat do songs in that sense, but the lyricism takes precedence over like its substance over style. We'll say it that way. So that's kind of the concept, but yeah, so in an extra sense, I also want to say that the three extra songs that were not on the Spotify edition, which is essentially the 2007 edition, is Who's Fucking With This, Murder, Murder, and Learnt. And these were three more examples of like the kind of bland and just needing more decorative type attitudes. The one song I did like out of those three was Learned. That kind of had kind of like a more, I mean, that was kind of a more like outlandish production on there. I kind of felt like I was surprised at this kind of like, it just felt different. And the other two were just bad. I really didn't like Who's Fucking With This and Murder, Murder, Murder. They just, but yeah, I would have to say, I mean, I think a couple of those songs actually had some guest MCs on there, but it didn't really help much because the songs that they were on just were not interesting. Like, if there had been a guest rapper on, like, It's All One or It's Lovely or City of Shaw, I would have definitely said that that would have probably been. I think if City of Shaw had like a guest rapper to kind of ease like the intensity of it, I probably would have said that probably would have, there just are moments that need guests. I feel like sometimes you have to know what songs need to have guests, and because this is strictly a solo affair, it's maybe too much of MC juice, and that's kind of the concept is, especially with the topics that could be needed to be more diverse and lively. So that's kind of the subject there. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this album a 6 out of 10 because I did like half of them, but I did like half of them, but thing about it is I mean, yeah, I mean that's good. I give him a lot of credit for his lyricism and the spark that he has, just because he has a great flow, great lyrics, great ability to do it, and when he finds the right song, he sounds like a pro at it. He sounds like a rap heavyweight when he's on the right song, but it's just that he's kind of bland. That's kind of the concept. I give it a 6 out of 10. Social score is difficult to score just because it didn't have any singles, so we won't do that. And, in terms of some extra stuff, like, do I think this record can be topped? I do think it could. Like I said, this is an almost version of the Slim Shady LP from, like, the East Coast. If it just would have had, like, a song like My Name Is and Guilty Conscience, more radio promotion type stuff, better public relations ratio, and then maybe some interesting guests, I would have said that this could have competed with an Eminem album in the proper exposure. But that's kind of the thing there. And in the future, I don't really know because MC Juice hasn't been around for a while. But there you have it.
What's up, YouTube? It's JackalGoldKick, and I'm here with Acid Rootz, and we're going to be doing a video collaboration reviewing the album Tip of the Iceberg by rapper MC Juice. Now, when it comes to MC Juice, he's probably most known for, at least what I know him for, is being the guy that beat Eminem in a rap battle. Back in the day, Eminem used to do rap battling before he signed with Dr. Dre, and one of the people he was in a rap battle with was MC Juice. And MC Juice actually beat Eminem in a rap battle, which is pretty cool and pretty impressive feat. That's what I know him for, and that's what I assume he's most known for. He's from Chicago, Illinois. He's a rapper slash battle rapper. And I thought it would be interesting for me and Acid Rootz to take a look at one of his projects and see what his music is like and review one of his albums to see what more there is to this person besides just, being able to beat Eminem in a rap battle. And even though he beat Eminem in a rap battle, sadly, musically, we're going to get to it in this review, but musically, he's not touching Eminem whatsoever. He may have been able to beat Eminem in a rap battle, but musically, he is way below Eminem's level, like very, very down below, and we're going to get into that. So yeah, we're going to review this album, Tip of the Iceberg by rapper MC Juice. I have a track list pulled up so I can go through the songs. It came out in... Oh, this version's 2007, because the weird thing I want to mention is there's like two versions of this album. There's a 2003 version, there's a 2007 version. The 2003 version of this album has like 16 songs, and then the 2007 version has 14 songs. So we're going to be focusing on the 2007 version, the newer one that's on YouTube and Spotify. That's the main one we're going to be reviewing. But we might briefly mention the 3 songs on the 2003 version that were not on this album. But for the most part, we'll be focusing on the 2007 version. So yeah, I don't know why there was those slight variations of different songs within the two versions, because they both have mostly the same songs, but one has 3 songs and one doesn't have the 3 songs from the 2003 version, but it has another song that's not in the 2003 versions and the 2007 version. So it's very weird, but we're going to be focusing on the 2007 version, and we might briefly go over the 2003 version with the songs that weren't on this one. So this album came out in 2003. And then this new one we're reviewing is like the 2007 version. So let's review Tip of the Iceberg by rapper MC Juice. So the first song on the album is called, this song is called What? This is a pretty dope song. I do like the song What. It's a really dope song. It's got some nice production. It's got some nice rapping from MC Juice. It's got nice flow from him. It's got a really good chorus on there. It's an enjoyable song overall. My favorite song on the album. I think it's the best song on the album, and it's a solid track overall. Not really a big fan of boom bap rap, and that's what the song kind of is. But I think this is one of those cases where it works, and I do like the approach to this. And it has some good lyrics on here. MC Juice saying stuff like, "My career's already fucked. I get $1,000 for each show. So what I'm supposed to do? Hire you to damage shit more." I like that part. I like when he says. Rhymes sharp enough to shake a sensei. He's just got some really good bars and lyrics on here. So yeah, the first song, What, is really good. Solid production, solid rapping, good flow. good chorus, and just an enjoyable track overall. Definitely the best one on the album, and definitely my favorite one. It's a solid song. It's a really good song, and it's probably one of the only solid songs on this album, sadly. And we'll get to that here soon, which is why I said what I said at the beginning with this guy just not musically being on the same level as Eminem. But to be fair, this first song, What, is a solid track. It's amazing overall, got good production, rapping, lyrics, flow, hook. The whole song in general is just solid and a dope ass song. I think what also makes a song good and really helps the beat of the boom bap type is it has kind of this wild, wild west feel in it a little bit with some of the beat. So yeah, the first song, What, is definitely a solid one. I like that one. Now the second track on the album is called It's Lovely, which features this female singer named Little B. It's not the Little B from the Pack, but it's a female singer named Little B, so it's kind of interesting to have the same name. So yeah, the second track, It's Lovely, featuring Little B, this female singer. I really didn't care for this song. I just thought it was a pretty lame, boring song. I mean, the lyrics are good and the rapping is good, but I don't like the chorus. Wasn't a big fan of Little B singing. I didn't like the production whatsoever. It just felt very dull and boring and plain, and it just lacked any like flair to it. It was plain. I hated the production. So when it comes to the second track, It's Lovely, didn't like it at all. Wasn't vibing with it. A terrible, horrible, dull beat and just a really bad hook. Or just not really a good hook. I mean, yeah, MC Juice raps good on there and he has good lyrics, but the song overall just isn't that good because the beat is so poor, plain, and just dull. So I don't really care for that one. The next song on the album, which is the third one, City of Shy, this is a decent song. This is a decent song. It's not amazing. It's definitely not as good as this song, What? But City of Shy, it's a decent song. It's got an okay beat and some good rapping and lyrics. I wouldn't revisit the song or listen to it that much, but City of Shy is a decent song. It's close to being a really good song. If the beat was a little bit better and if there was much more of a memorable hook, then it would probably be as good as What. But as it stands, the third song, City of Shy, it's a decent song. It has good rapping. It has good lyrics. It has a good chorus. The beat's okay. It's just a decent song overall. Not anything amazing, not anything terrible. It's just a decent song. And that's really all I have to say about that one. The next track on the album is called Run For Your Life, track 4. I hate this song. It's awful. I can't stand the sample in the song, the Run For Your Life high-pitched woman they use. I hate the production of the song. It's so plain, boring, dull, and just bad. And then the sample that MC Juice uses here is just awful, especially in the chorus with the woman saying "Run for your life, save yourself." I hate that. It just sounds so lame on the song. I mean, once again, MC Juice does rap good and there is good lyrics on here, but just musically it's awful. The production is terrible. It's plain, it's boring. The hook's not any good, mixed with the bad sampling here. So yeah, Run For Your Life, terrible song. And with a song title like Run For Your Life, you would expect something a lot more fun. Run For Your Life is supposed to be like a threatening type thing, but it just comes off as a boring ass song. So I don't like this one. The next song on the album is track 5, which is called Real Hip Hop. This is another decent song on the album. Probably the last redeemable thing about this album before we get into the rest of the songs. Probably the last decent thing I could say about this album. Track 5, Real Hip Hop. I think it's a decent song. I don't mind the beat. I like the piano in it. I like the chorus. I like MC Juice's rapping on there, and I think it is a decent song. It has kind of this message of, this is real hip hop, can't let them take hip hop kind of thing. It's a decent song. It's not amazing, but it's not the worst thing ever. It's just a decent song, and that's really all it is. It's just decent. So yeah, real hip hop, decent track. Don't mind it. It's all right. It's just not as good as the first song, What, but it's a decent song. Much like City of Shy. Those are just two decent songs. Not anything amazing, not anything terrible. So yeah, track 5, Real Hip Hop, decent song. It's okay for what it is. Decent beat, decent rapping. What'll probably make it better is better production and, maybe something that would give it more flair. But Real Hip Hop, decent song. So the next song on the album, track 6, is It's All One, right? Yeah. Track 6 is It's All One. Not a fan of this song. Don't really care for it. It just has like a boring beat. I mean, the rapping and lyrics are good on it, but once again, the production is just really bad here. It's very stale. It's very dull. It's very plain. It's just not enjoyable. A lot of the beats on this album sound the same, to be honest, which is another issue. Like, I've listened to this album twice in preparation for this review, and I can't even remember what the song sounds like. But yeah, It's All One, track 6, lame song, don't care for it, boring, a boring, dull beat that's just not good at all. Forgettable chorus. I mean, the lyrics and rapping were good, but the production was just awful, and musically, it was just a boring song, and I didn't really care for it. The next song on the album, track 7, is Feel My City. Didn't care for this song either. Once again, this has the same issue as the other ones I didn't like. It has bad production that's very plain and very dull, but the rapping and lyrics are good. But the chorus, I don't even remember the chorus. The fucking, like I said, the beat is just terrible. It's plain, it's dull. It's just, much like this song and the other ones I mentioned with bad beats. It's like this boom bap type beat with just, it just sounds so like just dull and uninteresting. There's like no flair to it. It just really sucks and it doesn't produce anything exciting musically. So yeah, Feel My City. Definitely not a fan of this song. It's just boring overall. It just has a lame, dull beat. Even if the rapping and lyrics are good and MC Juice has a good flow on here and a good rap voice, that's another thing I will say. MC Juice does have a good rap voice. This song itself is just lame and boring. So the next song on the album is track 8, which is Lena's song. Don't care for this one either. Once again, it does have good rapping and good lyrics, but the production is really lame, just dull and boring and just plain and just really not that good at all. So it just makes for a boring song overall and just a forgettable song. So I don't care for that one either. The ninth song on the album is called Gone But Not Forgotten. Don't care for that song either. I like the concept of this song where he pretty much raps in the perspective of all the dead rappers. That's an interesting concept. That's something I haven't seen too many people do, where they kind of rap from the perspective of all the dead rappers that we lost. But it doesn't, but it's like, it's a cool idea, but musically it just sucks, because most of the time you don't even sound like the guys he's impersonating, only when he does like the Pac and Biggie one. So yeah, track 9, Gone But Not Forgotten. Didn't care for this song. It just has really bad production, really dull beat. It does have good rapping and good lyrics. I like the idea, but the production itself is just very bad. So I don't like that one. The tenth track on the album is called Same Hood, Different Day. I don't care for this song either. It has a boring ass beat. It's very dull. It's very plain. It's just not that great, and it's just not an enjoyable song to listen to. All it has going for it is good rapping and good lyrics, and that's really it. Not much more else I could say about that song. Track 11 on the album is called The Only Place for Me. I don't care for this song either. Once again, it has a boring, dull, plain beat that's just not that great, and it doesn't really make for an enjoyable song. It may have good lyrics and good rapping, but the production itself is just really bad and just lacks flavor, and it's just really not that good, honestly. So don't care for this song. Not a fan of The Only Place for Me. Just not a good song. The 12th track on this album is called Inside of Me. Don't care for this song either. It does have good rapping and good lyrics, but the production is extremely plain, boring, dull, just not interesting, and it just doesn't make for an enjoyable song at all. So not much else to say about that one. And then the 13th track on the album called Rolling on LSD. That's another song I don't care for. Just once again, it has like this boring boom bap, dull, plain beat, just like the other songs do. This song has like the exact same production as every other song on this album. Like almost every song sounds the same beat wise. There's no change up. It's just this boring, plain, no flair, boom bap type beats. It's just very boring and monotone and just no flair to it, nothing. It feels just plain. So I don't like this song Rolling on LSD. It's just not a good song. It does have good rapping and good lyrics, but that's not enough for a good song. You got to have it musically sound good, and musically it doesn't sound good because it has poor, plain production. And another thing is, a song called "Rolling on LSD," you would think it would have some kind of maybe like trippy beat or some kind of crazy drug beat because it's about drugs, but no, it's just another plain boom bap song. So I don't like that one. And then the final track on the album is called "In the Trenches." This is like a mediocre song. This isn't like a bad song. It's not even like a decent song. It's like in the middle because I kind of like the beat on this song In the Trenches. I kind of like the beat on it, but the song just still doesn't work for me. It does have good rapping and good lyrics, but like production wise, it's just really not something I like. So that's all the songs on the 2007 version. Before I give a rating, I'll quickly go over the 2003 version. So let me pull that up. So when it comes to the 2003 version, the three songs on here that weren't on the 2003 version, or 2007 version, we have this one track called "Who's Fucking With This" with Breeze, Everflowing, and C Ray's Walls. All the guys on the song have really good rapping and really good lyrics, but I didn't care for that song. It just felt very boring and just not enjoyable. Didn't care for the hook, didn't care for the production. Musically, it just really wasn't enjoyable. The other song on here, what is it? Murder, 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 feat. Maintain and K Solo. That's actually a good song. That is actually one of the few songs connected to this project that I actually think is solid. Murder, Murder, Murder with Maintain and K Solo. That's a good song. I like that song. It has like a nice horrorcore type beat. You have really good rapping and really good chorus. And I just like some of the lyrics in the beginning where he says, "This ain't Bubba Sparks, bitch," or something like that. It's just dope, you know? So Murder, 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 especially with the other guys on it and MC Juice, they do all do a good job on the song with their rapping and lyrics. And the beat is pretty solid and it's enjoyable to listen to, you know? And it's definitely a solid track with a good hook. It's a solid song. It's definitely a solid song. I wish this was on the 2007 version. It wouldn't have made that album any better, but it would have kind of helped to have maybe a song like that on there, because the 2007 version, only really good song is What, and then the other ones I mentioned are just decent. So Murder, 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 that's a solid song. And then the last song that's on this album, but not in the 2007 version, the third song is a song called Learnt with Mars One. I didn't care for that song either. It had good rapping and lyrics from both MC Juice and Mars One, but I didn't really care for that song. Chorus-wise, beat-wise, musically, it wasn't doing anything for me, and I didn't care for it. I kind of liked some of the beat. I liked the flute in the beat, and I kind of wish it was done better in a better song with a better beat structure, but I don't really care for this one either. I would say that if they did put these on the album, it would probably make it just worse, though, like I said, Murder, Murder, Murder is a decent song. But that's all I wanted to say briefly about like the 2003 version. So overall, my rating for Tip of the Iceberg by rapper MC Juice, I'm giving this album a 3 out of 10. It's a poor, lame, boring, just bad album. And it's definitely one of the worst albums I've heard in a long time. Sure, the rapping is good on here. Sure, the lyrics are top tier on here. But the biggest issue with this album, and what really just makes it a boring album, is the production sucks on this album. This production on this album is just bad. It comes off as plain, boring, generic, just not interesting. There's no flair to it, you know. And another reason I'm giving it a 3 out of 10 is because there's only like 3 decent songs. The best song is What. That's a dope ass song, so you get a point for that. City is Shy is decent. What is it? Real Hip Hop is decent. So there's only like 3 tracks in here that are worth a damn. That's the only reason I'm even giving it a 3 out of 10. Every other song on this album sucked, and it just had lame production, and musically it just wasn't any good, you know? And it's just disappointing, because you would think the guy that beat Eminem in a rap battle would have some kind of music. So while he maybe can beat Eminem in a rap battle, he damn sure can't beat him when it comes to music, because this project was really just not that good, and I was not a fan of this, you know? And I've never really been a fan of boom bap hip hop, to be honest. So it was probably expected I wasn't even going to like this album anyways, knowing now that it's boom bap hip hop. So yeah, my overall, like I said, my overall rating for Tip of the Iceberg by MC Juice is a 3 out of 10. It's a terrible album. It's boring. It sucks. It's plain. It lacks flair. It's just very dull and just very plain, and I didn't really care for it overall. Just really bad production, uninteresting hooks. Just overall, musically, it wasn't really enjoyable to listen to. The only songs worth a damn on here are What, City is Shy, and Real Hip Hop. Those are the only decent to good songs on this album, with good being What, and then decent being the other 2. Those are the only worthwhile songs on this album. Other than that, it's a pretty lame album, which is why I give it a 3 out of 10. Definitely one of the worst albums I've heard in a long time. Just plain, boring, not that great to listen to. It just has really awful production. I think this album was produced by someone named Moleman. It says like Juice and Moleman. So I think Moleman handled the production on here. But yeah, 3 out of 10. Really bad album. Boring, dull, plain, just horrible. Just a boring album to listen to with only like three redeemable songs and 3 alright songs, but the rest of the album was just boring. And then like the other songs I mentioned briefly, I didn't care for those ones. Though I would say, if you were to take the Murder Murder song and put it in this 2007 version, it might up the score to 4 out of 10. But since we're just focusing on the 2007 version as it stands, my score 3 out of 10. It was just a boring album overall. I have no desire to go back to it, and I don't have any desire to check out anything else MC Juice has done. The only song I'd probably revisit from this album is What, because that is a banger. Probably wouldn't revisit City is Shy or Real Hip Hop. Those are decent songs, but as it stands, Tip of the Iceberg is not really that good. 3 out of 10, just really bad album. So that's all I got to say, as well as Acid Rootz. Let us know what you thought of this album if you've heard it, and peace. A few more things I wanted to add about this MC Juice Tip of the Iceberg album. I didn't really go into depth in terms of what the songs were about because it was just a forgettable experience. I didn't really care for this album, so I just don't remember it much. But most of the topic and subject matter in this album just consists of, you know, sheer lyricism. MC Juice is like a sheer lyricism type where he's going to give you just some lyrical shit. So most of the stuff on here is just being lyrical, sheer lyricism, talking about the city he came from, maybe rapping about hip hop, talking about the battle rap stuff, talking about the industry, him as a rap artist, maybe some life struggles and emotional stuff as well. And that's about the extent of the subjects. And, you know, MC Juice is just like a sheer lyricism guy. He's kind of like Joel Ortiz and a lot of those guys that it just seems like they're focused more on lyrics over beats. And I like to have both, you know. I think we should be able to have both. We should be able to have good lyrics and good beats, you know. And MC Juice, like I said, you know, he is a really good rapper. MC Juice is a solid rapper. He's got a really good rap voice. He has a good flow, and his lyrics are pretty dope. If you were to give him an album produced by like Dr. Dre or Timbaland or Swizz Beatz or even Eminem or even like Sha Money XL, G-Unit's producer, then you would have a really good album, you know. MC Juice, this rapper needs to be on some better beats. He needs to be on something that's produced by Dre or Timbaland or Swizz Beatz or even Eminem or even Sha Money XL. You know, somebody that makes really good beats and is a good producer. I think they should produce an album or some songs for MC Juice because it would really help him out and give him better music, because as it stands, he's just another one of those guys that just his sheer lyricism, really good rapper, but when it comes to music, he's just very poor at making it, and it just doesn't come together good at all. And that's why I didn't care for most of the music I heard, and that's why I didn't care for this Tip of the Iceberg project, besides maybe just 3 songs. So that's all I really have to say about it. Just some extra stuff I wanted to add. Peace. And that's all me and Acid Rootz got to say, so yeah, peace. So one more thing I forgot to add to this review. Apparently there's 17 songs on the 2003 Tip of the Iceberg version and not 16. The 17th song I saw online was Good Grief. Couldn't find a way to listen to it, so don't really have anything to say about it, but figured I'd just mention that.